Hello everyone, this is ARYAN Thakkar, your coach and mentor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel on ARYAN Tutorials, where in this video I'm going to take up your ISC Class 12's Prism first story, which is Atithi, written by Rabindranath Tagore. Now, before I get started, I want to request you that if you haven't read the text of this particular prose, then first go read the text, complete the story properly, make sure to get your hands onto the key events which have taken place, and then come to this revision video of Atithi. Since I do not have time to take up line by line explanation of 25 pages long short story, therefore I would recommend you that you yourself with a pencil should sit and read each and every word, and then come back to the short revision video where I'm going to cover up the summary, critical analysis, thematic significance, appreciation of the title, what are the key lines and quotations which you need to bear in mind, and some more insights and tips into your short story. ठीक है? So let's get started with Atithi. Written by Rabindranath Tagore, Atithi comes from the Sanskrit word. ठीक है? It comes from the Sanskrit word, which means guest. Now make sure to sit with a pencil and keep noting each and everything which is being said over here, so that you don't miss out on any important detail associated with this short story. So Atithi refers to a Sanskrit word. Atithi is a Sanskrit word which means or refer to as the guest. So this short story by Rabindranath Tagore revolves around a young 15 or a 16-year-old boy named Tarapada. ठीक है? However, you all would be pronouncing him as Tarapada, but actually we come from Bengal, and you have to have that taste of Bengali culture, and that is why actual pronunciation of this little boy is Tarapada and not Tarapada. ठीक है? So let's get into the comprehensive study by Rabindranath Tagore about this story. Is about very important freedom, yearning आप बोल सकते हो, या longing आप बोल सकते हो. दोनों का ही मतलब होता है yearning, और longing means a desire. ठीक है? Yearning और longing for freedom. This short story is about the desire for freedom. Attachment. The story is about attachment and at the same time detachment. That in spite of all the love which is showered upon this young boy from his acquaintances that he encounters throughout his journey, he still chooses to remain detached and a universal Atithi in this entire world. ठीक है? To wherever, whichever place he goes. And eternal का मतलब हो गया forever or perpetual wanderer. Now wanderer आपको पता होगा ना, wanderer क्या होता है? Someone who leads a life that like that of a nomad, who never wants to settle down at a particular place, and the person keeps on hovering from one place to another in order to explore the unexplored. So this short story is about Tarapada, who wants to explore the unexplored. ठीक है? In other words, he has a zest for adventures. He just wants to gather experiences, but he does not want to settle down at one particular place, which stands as and his decision not to settle down at any particular place stands as a defiance. Defiance का मतलब आप समझते हो? Defiance means violation to societal norms. ठीक है? In other words, ideologies. Like people expect you to settle down at a particular age, but this boy, he stands as a defiance to that, as a violation to that. that he does not want to settle down at any particular place. Let's get into the summary and the key events which have taken place. Part 1 is arrival of the guest, that is Tarapada. Tarapada arrives as a guest in a family of Motilal Babu, who was a rich and a wealthy zamindar. ठीक है? This is the story of Tarapada, who enters into the life of Motilal Babu, his wife Annapurna, and they had a single child named Charu Shoshi. ठीक है? Not Charu Shashi, but Charu Shoshi. That is how in Bengali we pronounce their name as Motilal Babu. It's like Motilal Babu, Annapurna, and Charu Shoshi. That is how it is to be said. Now, Motilal Babu, a wealthy landlord, okay? This landlord conveys that he was influential. And since he was Zamindar, which shows that he was an influential man. In his village named Karthalya, okay? Motilal Babu belonged from a village, Karthalya. So he was an influential, wealthy zamindar who meets Tarapada, a wandering yani someone who does not want to settle down, Brahmin boy, and Tarapada joins the family boat journey. Basically, what happens is that Tarapada asks for a lift to Nondigram. There's a place in Bengal called as Nandigram or Nondigram. That is where he was going to. So on their way, Motilal Babu, he offers to give him a ride. Basically, Tarapada asks for a lift, to which Motilal Babu offers him the ride on his boat. Okay? So he joins the family through the boat journey. While Tarapada is a very handsome, his physical characteristic, he is very handsome, very skilled, या आप deft भी बोल सकते हो. Tarapada is skilled or deft. He is innocent and at the same time very helpful. Okay? He is helpful. These are the qualities of Tarapada. However, in spite of very easily socializing with all the people that he comes across in his life, still he has a restless spirit. He does not want to settle down anywhere. He ran away from his home repeatedly due to a restless and a nomadic spirit. Okay? He's like the wandering bark. Bark मतलब आप जानते हो ना, it's like a small boat. ठीक है? Is like the wandering bark in the ocean of life. Wow, what a line. You can use this in your answer. He was like the wandering bark in the ocean of life, where he wanted to be tossed, he wanted to go every place possible and wanted to experience all sort of adventures of his life, but he does not want to settle down anywhere. ठीक है? So he has a restless and a nomadic spirit, and despite mingling matlab despite socializing with the world, he remains pure. In other words, he remains untainted or uncorrupted. He remains untainted or uncorrupted. ठीक है? Untainted or uncorrupted. Like nothing could, dilute his character of a person. He remained as pure as a swan. That is what is written in the story when you read the text. Coming to his natural freedom, his desire for freedom. Tarapada feels most alive with nature. Although he very easily is able to socialize with people, the most connected he feels is close to nature. When he is close to nature, when he is in the embrace of nature. So Tarapada feels most alive with the nature, with river, and with the boatsman. He is detached from all the comforts and routines and, basically the pre-decided societal norms where people expect you to be busy with your work, with your life. You have to earn money, you have to study, you have to do this, you have to get up, you have to go to work and do all the traditional things which a person is supposed to do. But he was free from all that bondage. ठीक है. So he was detached from all the comforts and routines of life. His Panchali singing deeply moves everyone. Rather, he was attracted to different kinds of arts. ठीक है. He was attracted to different kinds of art, artistic skills, and therefore throughout his journey he picks up on different kinds of activities in life and he gains mastery over it. And Panchali is basically an art of singing. हम लोग बोलते हैं ना फोकलोर गाना, फोकलोर यानी भजन कीर्तन गाना भगवान के नाम का, उसको पांचाली बोला जाता है. He was an expert in that. His growing attachment, Motilal Babu wishes to adopt him because they did not have a son. So Motilal Babu and especially Annapurna, there was a stir of motherly affection within her when she encounters this boy Tarapodo, and she immediately develops that maternal feeling towards him, and she wanted to keep him as his son. But although in spite of her, in spite of her endless, immense amount of love and affection that she shows, the more affection she showed towards Tarapodo, the more detached he grew from Annapurna. ठीक है? So Motilal Babu wishes to adopt him and Annapurna grows emotionally attached towards the boy. But however, their sole daughter Charu Shoshi begins to feel jealous. She starts to develop animosity, or you can say hostility. She grows hostile. Hostile means she starts developing feelings of hatred blended with jealousy. She was jealous of Tarapodo entering into their family. Like she is the sole daughter, the only daughter of Motilal Babu and Motilal Babu and Annapurna. And how could this boy all of a sudden enter into their family and take all the attention? Where in the at which she is a sole claimant onto, like she deserves all the attention of their family. Take care. So she develops a feeling of hatred with jealousy. Now, part 3, jealousy and conflict. Charu's resentment. Now, what is the meaning of resentment? She disliked, she disliked Tarapodo. In other words, she was hostile. ठीक है? She did not appreciate this boy joining into their family, where she was the only daughter to Motilal Babu and Annapurna, and all of a sudden, an unknowing person joining and getting all the attention from her parents is what something which she disapproved of. ठीक है? So Charu, she feels resentful, she feels repulsive towards Tarapodo. Charu, who was the spoiled and the only daughter of Motilal and Annapurna, and possessive about her parents' love, she resents, she loathes, or she disliked Tarapodo as a person. And Annapurna, she understood where these emotions of Shoshi are culminating from, and therefore she made sure that she never openly show her love and affection towards Tarapodo, especially in front of Charu Shoshi. So Annapurna hides her affection to protect Charu's feelings, and Tarapodo, for the first time, he feels, he feels a little allured. I would say he feels a little allured because for the first time in his life, Charu Shoshi is one person and the only person whose love or whose favorance he failed to gain. In other words, he could not please one person in his entire life, that was Charu Shoshi. And I think that could be the reason which made him stay the longest in Kathalya. Like Tarapodo इससे पहले आज तक कभी भी कहीं पे भी बहुत लंबे समय के लिए टिका ही नहीं था. He was nomadic of a creature, but it was this girl who was enigmatic. ठीक है? Please use this word for Charu Shoshi. She was enigmatic, which made Tarapodo unknowingly get attracted towards her. At the same time, in an attempt to please her, he stayed longest in Kathalya. So Tarapodo tries to please Charu Shoshi but fails miserably. There are complex emotions which are layered in the interaction between Charu Shoshi and Tarapodo. Charu secretly watches him swim, but hatred mixed with attraction. Okay, so there was a sense of passion, but at the same time that passion was blended, it was coupled with hatred, at the same time attraction. So only when Tarapodo would swim in river, that at that time she couldn't help herself staring at him, but at the same time making sure that she is not being noticed while doing so. ठीक है? Next part 4, the village life. So finally Tarapodo reaches Karthalya, and he makes himself comfortable, and immediately he befriends everyone in the village. He befriends. ठीक है? Befriends यानी he gets socially comfortable. He gets socially comfortable with villagers of Karthalya. So Tarapodo settles in Karthalya for temporarily, but his longest stay. ठीक है? He stays there for the longest time, and he becomes loved. He becomes the apple of the eye of all the villagers, by all due to his adaptability and his charm. In other words, Tarapodo was charismatic. He was charismatic. ठीक है? And Charu's jealousy intensifies, seeing that how can he become favorite of each and every person in her village. So due to that, her jealousy intensifies, especially due to Shonamuni, who was Charu Shoshi's friend, and she used to call Tarapodo Dada. And Tarapodo would go and visit Shonamuni's places and call Shonamuni's mother as Masi, regard her as Masi. And he had also made a flute for Shonamuni, which led to this more deep-rooted animosity and jealousy and resentful feeling in the mind of Charu Shoshi. Charu breaks Tarapodo's flute in rage. In rage means in fury or in anger. She takes up his flute and just breaks it into pieces. ठीक है? Tarapodo was everyone's favorite. He was deeply appreciated by everyone. Part 5. And then there is a desire to learn something new. Staying in Karthalya, he was fascinated by English as a subject. Therefore, Motilal Babu arranged for an English master to come in the evening. He was the Karthalya school village master, and he would come in the evening to train Tarapodo in the subject English. Okay? So part 5, education and power struggle. Learning English. Tarapodo learns English, which is a symbol of modern discipline. He wanted to learn this art, this mastery of language. At the same time, Charu Shoshi, she would be a bother to Tarapodo in his lessons. So she would go and just interfere in Tarapodo's learning. Charu interferes out of jealousy and possessiveness, and she would always obstruct or hinder Tarapodo from learning anything new. At the same time, there is an emotional turmoil. Emotional games, silent angers, tears, and control dominate their bond. That is how their bond is. ठीक है? There are emotional games. She would throw a fit and tantrum onto Tarapodo. There was silent anger. There were tears. At times, she would just cry, and then she would try to control, like she locked Tarapodo up in the room so that she can prevent him from going to Shonamuni's house. That is how their bond grew over time, with attraction at the same time, with resentment, with jealousy and possessiveness. Part 6, engagement and escape. So one fine day when Motilal Babu decides to get his daughter married when she turns 11, ठीक है? When she turns 11, there was a marriage proposal which came from, I think, I don't remember exactly from which village, to which Charu Shoshi had locked herself up in the room, and looking at the tantrums of his daughter, Motilal's daughter, Annapurna advises Motilal to consider Tarapodo as a groom, ठीक है? As a fit groom. At the same time, Tarapodo would also stay there. वो लोग उसको घर जमाई बना के भी रख लेंगे. And he is the only one who can handle Charushoshi's emotions. So Motilal, although he is initially reluctant, but he still gives it a thought, because the amount of tantrums Charushoshi throws, I think no, she won't be able to settle down anywhere. So therefore, he considers Tarapoto as a potential groom for Charushoshi. ठीक है? So marriage is planned secretly. Therefore, Motilal Babu secretly plans Tarapoto and Charushoshi's marriage, not even informing Tarapodo that he is about to get married to Charushoshi. Tarapodo begins feeling emotional attachment for the first time, and that is why he stays the longest in Karthalya. And then one fine day, when he sees an entire boat of Jatra troupe going towards Calcutta for the chariot festival, which is upcoming. That festival, the monsoon, the music, and river, that once again awakens his wandering soul. It just stirs or it just moves something within him. उसके अंदर एक वापस से वो इच्छा कि मैं दौड़ना चाहता हूँ, मैं उड़ना चाहता हूँ, मैं गिरना चाहता हूँ, बस मैं रुकना नहीं चाहता हूँ, sort of अपना बनी from ये जवानी है दीवानी, that sort of emotion that gets stirred within him for once again. And then one fine day, on the evening of being bound by marriage, like just one day before his marriage, he disappears and leaves Karthalya. Once again, stands as an epitome. Epitome means as a perfect example, that is epitome of detachment, and remaining as a universal Atithi. And he returns back to the mother nature, whose embrace he finds more comfortable than these people with whom he socializes. Okay? So he chooses freedom over love, stability, and social ties. Again, standing as a defiance to social ideologies. He stands as a defiance to the social ideologies. He does not settle down. Okay? Now, coming to critical analysis and the central theme of Atithi by Rabindranath Tagore, which is freedom versus attachment. Okay? This is the central theme where Tarapodo wants freedom. However, Motilal and Annapurna, especially Annapurna, wants to tie him down to his family and wants to adopt him as her son, and does not want him to leave. However, his zest, his enthusiasm for adventures, for exploring the unexplored, for discovering the undiscovered, that makes him break all the bonds of ties and love, and he just goes away. Okay? That is the central theme. So he is the wanderer. Tarapodo symbolizes eternal as the eternal wanderer, perpetual wanderer. Society, even though society, Motilal Babu and society tries to control him, represents control, trying to claim a control over Tarapodo and permanence. However, he breaks off, Tarapodo breaks off all the ties of bond and love. ठीक है? Chains of civilization, love, education, marriage, each becomes a chain. However, chain matlab it becomes a bondage. However, he breaks off from this chain, remaining independent as a soul. ठीक है? He remains independent as a soul. The significance of the title Atithi. Tarapodo is a guest everywhere. थोड़ा ज्यादा लाइट हो गया. He is a guest everywhere. In other words, he is a universal. Tarapodo is a universal Atithi. Universal Atithi. ठीक है? Tarapodo is a universal Atithi. He is a temporary guest. He's a temporary guest to Motilal and his family. In Motilal's family, he belongs nowhere and everywhere, and in the village and in his relationships. So he's a temporary guest. This is a very good line which you can use. He belongs nowhere and yet everywhere. ठीक है? Nature serves as a symbol over here. The rivers, storms, festivals reflect Tarapodo's inner restlessness. So nature calls him back whenever society tries to bind him. Bind him means tie him. जब भी सोसाइटी उससे एक्सपेक्ट करता है कि वो सेटल डाउन कर जाए, वो हमेशा उस आइडियोलॉजी को डिफाई करके तोड़ के वो फ्री हो जाता है. ही इज लाइक द फ्री बर्ड हु डज नॉट वांट टू बी केज्ड. However, there is one irony over here because he stays longest where affection is deepest. So, for the first time, he got attached to the love and affection that he got, and therefore he stayed for 2 years in Karthalia with Motilal Babu and his family. And just when he is about to settle, he escapes. ठीक है? He escapes. He leaves. So Tagore's message through Atithi is true freedom. True freedom demands renunciation of emotional security. Renunciation means basically you have to give up, you have to be detached, or you have to let go of all emotional bondage. Only then true liberation or true freedom can come. There is love and possession. Love, though it seems beautiful, can become possession at will. So, in other words, love, when it is uncontrolled or when it is, not diverted or directed in the right direction, it turns into possession. ठीक है, बोलते हैं ना, प्यार और मोह में भी अंतर है. कभी कभी हम लोग प्यार करते करते उस प्यार में इतना खो जाते हैं कि पता ही नहीं चलता है वो प्यार कब मोह बन जाता है, कब अटैचमेंट बन जाता है, कब बंधन बन जाता है. ठीक है. एंड अनकन्वेंशनल मीन्स नॉन ट्रेडिशनल. ठीक है. Conventional is traditional, unconventional is non-traditional lives. Not everyone is meant for conventional life. Conventional means traditional life. Just like ये जवानी है दीवानी YJHD में अगर आप बात करो तो बनी was the unconventional person but Naina was the conventional spirit. She wanted to settle down, get married, have kids and maybe lead a comfortable life, but then it was Bunny who wanted to explore the unexplored and he just leaves Naina behind for a moment. But however अगर बोलते हैं ना कि किस्मत जुड़ा होगा एंड तार जुड़े होंगे, आपकी कड़ी अगर जुड़ी होगी एक दूसरे के साथ तो यू विल ऑलवेज कम बैक टू दैट पर्सन or to that place. ठीक है. Now talking about character sketches of all four central characters. Tarapodo is a wandering Brahmin. ठीक है. Use the words in your answer. He is wandering, he is free spirited, he is innocent of a person, talented because he sings, he can play flute, he can cook, he can learn, he can do everything. He is detached yet deeply charming. ठीक है. He's detached yet he is deeply captivating and he just captures everyone's attention. He fears emotional imprisonment. He does not want to be emotionally tied and he symbolizes unbound. Unbound means unstoppable. Unstoppable human spirit. Talking about his key characteristic trait that he practices active detachment. ठीक है. He is actively detached. Although he is everywhere, yet he is nowhere. Tarapodo is everywhere. He is everywhere, yet he is nowhere. That is how you can describe him as a person. Talking about Charu Shoshi, she is spoiled, she is jealous, she is impulsive, and she loves fiercely but possessively. Although she has a passion in her emotions and her love, but then it turns into possession. Like she grows possessive about Tarapodo. She is emotionally immature and she represents human desire. That is the symbol. ठीक है. She is human desire to own love. Key trait is love turning into control. She is unable to control her emotions. Annapurna, talking about Annapurna, she is motherly, she is affectionate, at the same time, she is emotional. So I would say Annapurna, is basically आर्कीटाइपल. आर्कीटाइपल का मतलब होता है टिपिकल ऑफ अ मदर, जैसी माँ होती है, ठीक है. शी सीज तारापुद्दो एज अ सन. शी इज टॉर्न between love for guest and daughter, ठीक है. Like she struggles between her love for Tarapoto at the same time to maintain love for her own daughter, that is Charushoshi. Motilal Babu, he is more rational, that means he's practical, he's kind, he's generous, he's influential, representing social order and stability. Like that is how man should be, okay. That is what he symbolizes. He wants to domesticate Tarapodo. Domesticate means he wants to emotionally and physically cage him in the bonds of love, ठीक है, by getting Tarapodo married to his daughter. So he wants to domesticate Tarapodo through education and marriage. However, Tarapodo just leaves all his bonds behind. Talking about some more important themes. Themes are freedom versus bondage, nomadic spirit, possessive love on the part of Charu Shoshi, nature as a liberation. So it is only when you are close to nature you understand that what true detachment is. And he only belonged to Mother Nature. Tarapodo only belonged to nature and to nobody else in life. Illusion of stability. He breaks off the unconventional idea of, he breaks off the conventional, traditional idea of settling down in life. Tarapodo stands as a defiance to that. And there is an individual versus society, individual expectation versus societal expectation. Take care. Now, talking about some good lines, please take a screenshot or note it down in your copy. You should use this in your answer. Tarapodo was not merely means only a boy, but a wandering soul whom no affection could anchor. Anchor means could tie. Love, when mixed with possession, became a cage for the free spirited guest. You can use this for Annapurna and Motilal's attempt to get him married to Charushoshi. He remained untouched, untainted by the dust of the world despite walking through it. Although he encounters many people in his journey of life, in his 16-year journey of life, however, he remained uncorrupted and untainted, or he remained unsoiled. Okay? Tarapoto belonged to the river, the road, and the song, and not to the homes or the hearths. Hearths means, the cottages of people. Take care. Just when life prepared to bind him with marriage, he slipped away like the flowing water. Charu's jealousy revealed how intense affection can turn destructive, and nature repeatedly reclaimed Tarapodo from society's attempt to civilize him or make him settle down. These are some good lines which you can use in your answer. Talking about some key important quotations from your textbook. He was like a joyous wave on life's unending stream. Refers to his philosophy of movement, like why he kept moving from one place to another. His stars had made him a wanderer. Suggests that his destiny was preordained. Ordained means predecided. Predecided by nature itself. He swam in the murky waters of the world with pure white wings like a swan. Take care. Excellent for discussing his character's purity, that he was untainted or uncorrupted of a person. And before love and emotional ties could encircle him completely, could bind him completely, he returned to the unconstraining arms of Mother Earth. That is the final act of the story. And coming to conclusion, Tarapodo's story, that is Atithi, the guest, stands as Tagore's celebration of freedom. Tagore, through Tarapodo, celebrates the courage to choose freedom over comfort and the pain of remaining true to one's nature, even at the cost of love. Even if you have to give up on your family, on your love, or anything, if you want to remain independent and if you want to explore the unexplored, you have to give up on the material comforts of life or the social comforts of life. So he celebrates that. Why did Tarapada leave? What is the actual reason? Tarapada did not leave because he was unhappy, but because he was too happy. He realized that the comfort of Kathalya was becoming a habit. And for a true Atithi, the moment a place starts feeling like home, it is the moment they must leave to preserve their soul's freedom. ठीक है? This is very important. Like, why did he leave Kathalya? And then he embarks onto a journey, onto a road which is never taken by him, again to explore his soul and his life. Okay, so with this we come to an end of Atithi's revision. I hope this video helps, and if you are liking my content, then don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I hope you are having a great time preparing for your examination. Till then, keep studying, keep smiling, take care, bye bye.